Well, welcome back. It's just another Monday here. We're going to go over some of the stuff I've been working on the weekend. I did a lot of short videos to where they're on YouTube here, where they just cover where I'm at right now. So, just in a quick rundown here, I've got a mold. It's an RC pod. Not an RC pod, but it's an RC stick. It's one of the biggest molds I've done. It's a average 40 size airplane. So the concept with this tooling dough, and I'll cover it here, and if you want to see the tooling dough or see this mold plug before this stage here, you can watch some of the shorts. But the reason I went with the tooling dough, number one, it's supposed to be a faster way of building up a tool. So basically you start out with your surface coat, whatever you choose. I chose a high temp surface coat. It's for what it's worth, it's a Boeing spec. It's a graphite filled black epoxy tooling coat. And it's also, well, high temp, but it goes on different than the 302X surface coat. It goes on a little bit gooier, maybe. I don't know how to describe it, but it's got a different handling property. The verdict's out whether or not it actually buffs out as well as the 302. You can take the 302, wet sand it, and polish it and get you a really good surface. I'm not so sure about this. The advantages of this surface coat that I utilized is the fact that it has a longer pot life. So, you know, it's probably upwards of 45 minutes to an hour where I can still work it and brush it. The 302 kicks off so fast. It's perfect for smaller parts, let's say something a foot long. Now I could have used it on this fuselage plug, but I would have had to go in stages. I would probably had to divide it up into maybe 2 stages to get it spread out, and which would have been fine. But going forward on the tooling, I want to actually make the tooling for a full-size stunner, and I need something with a longer gel time preferably, and I wanted to try it. So that's where I'm at now. The surface coat went on, and then 3 layers of glass. It was 2 layers of 1 ounce, and I chose to use that against the surface coat because I didn't want to print through. One of the problems is if you have a thin surface coat or you lay the glass right on the plug, when it actually cures, you're going to see the weave in your mold. The surface coat gets rid of the print through if it's thick enough, and then it also allows you a little bit of repairability, I guess, you know, and you can buff it and sand it. So surface coat, 2 layers of 1 ounce, and then I went to probably, I'm not sure, but I think it's around a 9 ounce fabric. It's a heavy boat cloth. And then I ran it over the mold and around the flange, which you'll see here in a minute. And then I did the tooling dough, and I'll show you all the product information here before I go away, but I'll show you what I've got in this mold. Where I'm at today is the tooling dough's on. It's cured overnight. It's a little bit past B stage, but I sanded it down a little bit, the lumpy spots, but then I'm going back with more glass. So you try to balance the sandwich core. So you got the surface coat and your glass, the dough, and then more glass. So basically what you want to do, you want to keep it pretty close to being balanced. So this is the mold. Let's see if I can get a shot of it here. This camera wants to go inverted on me every once in a while. So you can see the tooling dough, and I put it in there as smooth as I could, and I also brought it up the edge here, you know, raised it up at an angle, made a nice fillet here. So when I take this glass cloth, I can come up on the flange without a 90-degree bend. So that's the way I put the dough in. So the dough, as you can hear, it's hard, but this tooling dough is made to be processed at a higher temp. So I can actually post cure this tooling dough all the way up to around 350, 400 degrees maybe. So what I got to do is get some resin mixed up, and I'm going to back this tooling dough up with HTR 250 and this boat cloth. And it's a pretty open weave. It's I wish I could tell you exactly what it is, but I can't. But I've had it a while and I use it on these molds. It's 7300 or one of these higher numbers. So let's get some epoxy mixed up here. I'm going to start with 50 grams. See how close I can get to wetting it out with 50 grams. The tooling dough, before the hardener goes in it, it's probably 50 ounces of tooling dough, and then probably, well, 12.5% or 12.5 ounces, 25% on the hardener. So you're looking at about 62 ounces of tooling dough in there. So the way I'm streaming today, I've actually got the OBS going. It's not the cell phone. So if you have any comments, just you can leave the comments. I'll be able to see them on the screen. So let's go to 50. And if I overshoot it, then I'll be doing a little bit of math here. Sort of nice because I've got my calculator on my phone, which if I'm not streaming on the phone, I can actually use my calculator. You gotta love the technology. Let's see what I got here. I got over 50 grams of resin. Let's see what I got here. Let's see, resin and cup 61.5 minus the cup, that's 8 grams, plus the 24% curing agent, plus the cup, 74.34. Fine. 74.3 or 74.4. So we're going to go the HTR 250 and then 106.3. This is my trusty mixing stick, the old dull Craftsman screwdriver. Ideally, you could wet this glass out on a tabletop with a squeegee. It'd be quicker. we're just going to lay it in there and start brushing this resin on it. The other thing it's good to do is get your hands in it, brush it around a little bit. This cloth eats up a lot of resin. It's pretty coarse. It's great for molds because it conforms really well. It goes around a lot of curves. I got some glass. It's a little over an ounce, 1.2 or something like that. It's a really light glass, but it's really fine weave and tight. And that's really good for flat surfaces, squeegeeing down. So don't worry about how much resin you're mixing. Worry about how long it's going to take you to work it into the glass. You can always mix up other batches. Let me get a brush here. Work a little thin CA into the brush here. Now I've used the vise to crimp these things, which is okay. But I've come to the conclusion the thin CA is probably the best solution. Seems to work out the best for me anyway. Acetone will melt the CA, so what you got to remember if you're cleaning the brush with acetone, then the actual CA would melt. Now one of the things that's different now versus when I first laid up the plug is I'm laying it up in one continuous sheet here, where before I laid it up in smaller sections to conform to the plug, which is fine. You can get away with a lot when you don't have to put heat to it. You get into these molds when you have to actually cook them, then things start to change a little bit. Now this mold ideally, I mean, would go up to whatever you post cure it to, but the way this is going to work out here, probably 90% of the time it'll probably never go past 150. So I think there's advantages to having a really rigid mold, and then there's disadvantages. One of the disadvantages I think would be when it comes time to demold this part and you can't flex the mold, it's going to make the part harder to pop out. And I can see that coming and being an issue maybe. I'll deal with that problem when I get to it. one of the things that intrigued me um, is making a full-size airplane control line stunner. The whole airplane would come out of two molds. It'd be the top and the bottom. Years ago there was a, I think it was out of the Ukraine, maybe it was called Bratko. It was an 049 size half A control line, and it was molded out of plastic, and it was top and bottom. And the way it worked, the whole airplane was in two pieces, top and bottom. And something similar to that, to where it would be for personal use. I mean, obviously you get the builder of the model rule and everything, but I'd have two molds, top and bottom, and autoclave carbon in the top and the bottom, or glass, or do whatever you had to do, and then put your controls in. Not that it matters too much, but right here in the corner where I cut it, in order to get the glass to conform, you can always go back and just put a little piece in there. The nice thing about doing a mold or plug, you don't have to worry about weight. You're pretty liberal with this stuff. Same thing, you know, on the plug, you just lay the primer on it and let it rip. Here's another thing to remember. Probably the best tool there is are your fingers. So I'm slapping this resin down probably the slow way, but don't hesitate to use your gloved hand to spread this stuff around. Now I'd use a bigger chip brush if I had it, but I don't have it. So I'm using this dinky little acid brush, which is perfect for my small parts, but it's not too good for this. So I think the 50 grams of resin is probably going to get me almost to the end of this cloth. I'm probably going to have to make more. Mix up more, I mean. I can see where the tooling dough would really speed up a small tool. You could almost lay up your sandwich core on a tabletop. And then slap it right on top of your plug, or as long as your plug had the surface coat already on it. Coming up the flange, this is where I get involved with my fingers. Now there's some spots in the mold that had like little divots or whatever. This glass cloth is not conforming to them. I'll show you how I deal with that. I'll take some of this DTO 81, which is that granular stuff, and I'll wet out those spots and work some of that down through the cloth. So 50 grams, it's probably looking like a third of this mold. 50 grams of the resin here. The other thing it helps when you start working this resin and it starts to cure up a little bit or thicken, you're able to actually go through here and get it to stick down better. Doesn't want to pop back up. I'll do the same thing with the corner here. Snip this off. Slap the scrap in that corner. This is probably overkill for this mold, but this whole process with the tooling dough was sort of an experiment, I guess. So right here's the problem spot. You can see where the resin doesn't want to go down in that, or the glass doesn't want to go down in that void. So I'll work some of this DTO 81 in there. I'm just going to smash it through the weave. And that's going to fill a little bit of a void in there. Not that it really matters, you know, but I think the only time it would really matter, now, if this was going to go in an autoclave, I think it would almost be imperative that the laminate here, this layup, would be debulked. Or if not, you have to be really careful you don't have any voids. I did a pod mold over there and I put it in the oven to cure apart. I got it up to like 160 degrees. And when I pulled it out, there's a little air bubble, probably the size of a pea. It was up around the nose section. And it cracked the mold just from the expansion of the heat. So yeah, the little bit of that DTO 081 worked through the weave and kept that teeny little void showing. So there's 50 grams of resin. So it's probably another 60 or 70 it's going to take. And I'm going to try to probably do 2 layers of this cloth. I'll probably turn the camera off when I do the second. I got a landing gear mold over there I need to pull out. Might do that. Got a big chunk of aluminum over there I need to get in and get milled out for the bell cranks. So I try to keep going with the same brush, same gloves. Obviously I got to get rid of the cup. What I like to do also is clean my gloves with acetone. So that way when I cut more glass or whatever, I've got clean gloves. So, really these gloves, they clean up really well, at least in between mixes. And I can get them to last for almost hours. So let's see if I can get this 50 gram mixed up without overshooting it. Let's see, make sure we're zero. The tare should be 8, 7.5. These cups vary about ½ gram depending on which cup, 7.5. So what I'm going to do, so I can sneak up on the 50 grams, I'm going to move my scale from the tare all the way back to 0. And I'm going to pour this in there and get 50. So I'm going to pour this in there until I get the bump, and hopefully the bump will be within that 7.5 grams so I don't overshoot it. If you want to spend the money, get a digital scale with a ½ gram resolution. So right now I overshot the 50 grams, but I didn't overshoot my tare weight. So I'll move my tare weight to 7.5 so I know to go really slow so I can hit my 50 grams. Otherwise, sneaks up on you and you end up overshooting it. So there's my 50 grams of resin. I need 12 of hardener. It's 24% per hundredweight. So 57.5, 12, 69.5. 69.5. This 106.3 gets awful crusty. It oxidizes or something. The glamorous part of composites here. Mixing the resin. So now that my hands are clean, I'm going to look at my phone. I heard it ping. Not that it matters, but it could be somebody telling me my stream is froze up. Let's see what it says here. Let's see if I'm even online. Not showing anything. I might be out there in the dark. We'll see. I'm streaming somewhere, I think. I think one of the things I'm going to do here, cut some of this flange down here. Got too much sticking up. Try not to cut it before I get it down in the mold. Sometimes it's easy to cut it too short. These scissors have been around for ages. These were, I think they're from the 60s. And the key to these things is the steel. It's got a really high grade steel in it. Now another method, if you want to go really quick, here's another way of doing it. Pour it out. This is the quick way. Works really good. You get out in these flats, you know, you can work a lot of resin really quick. And then of course I'll use the brush when I go up the flanges there. Might get lucky. Might be able to get to the end of the mold with 100 grams. Not so sure if I need to make this little dart here or not, but I will anyway. I think that tooling dough curved around enough. I think I'm going to need probably 10 more grams. Running out of resin here. I need to do that flange. Also might do a second strip around the edge of that flange. Well, I think that's pretty much got it, except for that one little bit on the flange over here. Almost had enough resin. I think I'll probably go a little bit more in the corner here. Gotta mix up probably 10 more grams. So that's pretty much it. I got all the flange done. One thing you want to do before you take your gloves off and call it quits, make sure you go around everything and make sure you didn't bump it. You know, make sure that everything's positioned to where you want it. There's been times when I clean it up and I look down and I'll see something not quite right. All these little fuzzies, or most of them, I just incorporate them into the mold, spread them around. At this stage of the game, it doesn't make any difference. The only thing that I can think of that pops up in my mind is when I put the surface coat on top of this plug, which was clayed up. I was pretty aggressive when I took the first layer of glass on top of the surface coat. I really worked it down, and around the corners, you know, where the clay was underneath, I used my fingers quite a bit and compressed it, trying to get that glass to conform to the curve, the tight bend. So I think the only problem I might have, which will be recoverable, is that clay seam, you know, right there where the parting board was. Might have a chance of distorting or push the clay through. We'll see. Once this thing B stages, I'll go ahead and put one more layer of this glass on it, and then I'll put it in my little warming box, and I'll post cure this. Probably I'll try to get it to 110, 120. 130 would be about all it's good for in there. That's the only thing that's about as high as I trust it. Well, I think that's about it. That's what I wanted to cover. Hopefully it's streaming somewhere. So I'll jump off here. And I'll definitely have a video of the whole process edited. I've got some YouTube stuff I'll put together that will cover from start to finish. Hopefully condense this whole mold down into maybe 15 minutes. I think that's doable. go through the each sequence really quick. It'll be interesting to see if this stream works. I actually changed the settings on it. So we'll see if we get it. If not, we'll do another one. So if you're watching, thanks for watching, and enjoy making them. And we'll be back.